learning the language of the country that you choose to relocate to is setting you up for an experience that's going to be less than fulfilled long term. And it is also a lack of respect to the people, to the country you say you love and that you want to go and live among the people of that country. Yes, I said it. I said what I said. You're going to be less fulfilled, and it is a disrespect. Okay, I know you're going to come with your comments, and I'm waiting for them. Hi, my name is Maggie. I've been a retiree here in Panama for 3.5 years now, and I know it's not a long time, but I believe it is long enough where I can say the honeymoon has kind of dissipated. Now, this is real life, and that's what I want to talk to you about today. I want to talk to you about why learning a new language in any country you want to repatriate to is vital. We're going to talk about the benefits of learning that new language and some barriers that I have noticed that keep people from fully engaged in the learning experience. If this is your first time seeing me, this is me, Maggie. I am a retired nurse practitioner, and I have chosen to be here in Panama, and I have been very happy with my decision. I am also the creator of SWRA, Single Women Retiring Abroad, a group of sassy older ladies like yours truly, who have made a conscious decision to retire abroad, live our best lives, create community while we reinvent ourselves. But the ultimate goal of SWRA is to create a newer model of aging that is sustainable and affordable. So if any of this sounds of interest to you, please, I invite you to share, like the video, and subscribe to the channel. And I thank you. You know, when I decided to move to Panama, language was definitely one of my major must-have, so to speak. I was not interested in learning Thai. I wasn't interested in learning Portuguese. I already speak French. I was not interested in moving to France. My decision was very, very well thought out. And of course, the language was big. What are your reasons for deciding to move to the country that you moved to? Was language a factor? Did you think about it as something that's going to be a challenge for you, something that you fully embrace, that you realize, I must learn this language? Was that a thought? Be truthful, be true to yourself. Some of you did not think about that. And you know why? Because you've watched some videos, you've watched some influencers say, oh, you don't need to learn Spanish in Panama. If you go to Ecuador, wherever, there's so many people who speak English there, you'll be fine. First of all, I want to tell you that visiting a country and living in the country are totally different things, in case you didn't know. And I know you've heard that before. When you're visiting a country, when you're a tourist, yeah, you learn a few words to say good morning. Yeah, that's good. I applaud you. If you're going to be here short term, for example, you say, I'm a digital nomad, there's no pressure for you to learn the language. You're in your little cocoon anyway. You don't need to. And if you get into a bind, you can always whip up that app, right? Also, if you are here on a contract, let's say your job has moved you here and you're on assignment for 1, 2, 3 years, I don't believe there is a pressure for you to learn the language because you're going to be socializing with like-minded people, you know, in your circle. And because I'm going to pick on English because English is like really it's a well-known language around the world, especially in the business world. There is no pressure to learn a new language. So why am I talking about this? I have been teaching basic conversational Spanish for about a year now. I started last year in April. Yes, it was like a little side hustle, but mostly it's to give me something to do, right? Because you've heard my story. I am not one to stay idle. I need to do things to keep my brain going. And it was going to be mutually beneficial. I get to practice my Spanish that I love, and then I get to impart my love of the language to others. My story is I grew up in the Caribbean. I grew up in Haiti in a very, well, not a very, was a French colony. French was the official language. Yes, we were colonized and we had we had our dialect Creole. So we spoke Creole at home, but we spoke French everywhere else. So that was a given. There was no if you want to learn it or not. But as I got into middle school, we had to learn Latin, first of all, thank goodness. Then we had to learn English and Spanish. Those were not electives. That's why when I came to the US after I graduated high school, I could write beautiful essays in English and Spanish. I could not hear much. That's why I ended up in ESOL classes, English as a second language. And it took about 6 months and I was fluent. So my love with the language started that far back. This is something I share with my students when they're like, oh my God, I can't believe how slow my learning is. And I have to remind them, I have been around the language since I was almost in diapers. So match your expectations with the reality. So before I tell you some barriers to learning a new language, let me tell you about why learning a new language is important. And these are my reasons. You don't have to agree with me or disagree, okay? I'm speaking from the heart. I believe that learning a new language, if you just say, oh, I just want to have this in my back pocket, I want to be a polyglot, I want to, like when I went to Chile, I remember there's some girls whose job are to translate, and these girls spoke multiple languages, and I was in awe because I would love to do that. I do speak a few languages, but I'm not a polyglot. I guess you could call that, but that's okay. But I feel that when you learn a new language, it kind of says something about you as a human being, that you have your mind open. Because when you learn a language, if you didn't know that, you're learning, it's not just the language. You're learning the culture, you're learning the people, you're learning their routines, their history. So if you are a naturally curious person, learning a new language is like an extension of who you are. It's not a hardship, right? And I am one of those people. So learning a new language exposes you to a different culture. It enriches who you are. It enriches your experiences of life and people. But if you're not interested in other people, you're not going to be interested in learning their language. And if you're not interested in other people, why are you in their country? You see, we are so self-absorbed and we make decisions that benefit us. And that's what happens to a lot of expats. We stay in our bubble. We don't really care about what's happening around us, the people in the country that you profess to love, their issues, their struggles. We are quick to discuss the things or point the finger at the things that are not like what you left. So you're not going to be interested in speaking to them and exchanging thoughts, ideas. Are you someone who likes to learn about other people? That's the curiosity mindset I'm talking about. Language also does something for your brain. There is research out there that says that neuroplasticity that people talk about, how I remember when I was a brand new nurse, they used to tell me, oh, you lose so many brain cells every minute and they could never be regenerated. Well, 30, 40 years later, it's like, oops, we were wrong. There's something called neuroplasticity, meaning that the brain can reinvent itself, regrow new brain cells. So when you make yourself learn something new, whether it's a new skill, whether it's a language, you're expanding the brain cells' capacity. I didn't say it was going to be easy. Possible? Yes, it is. So not only you showing respect, You are feeding into your curiosity mind, curiosity mindset, curiosity mindset, but you're also doing something personal for you. It benefits you, not just the people that you're around. So I don't know if I wanted to make a case for why you should learn Spanish, those three factors should be important to you. Okay, what are some barriers to learning Spanish? And I told you, I've been teaching for about a year. What are my observations about barriers to learning Spanish? Age definitely could be a barrier. It is not. It's not an absolute. And I know I was speaking to a sister one time, and I said, well, you know, as you age, it does require a bit more oomph and thought and decision making and effort to do something. And I remember when I went back to school, to grad school, I think I was 54 years old. You thought that was easy? No, it wasn't. My brain felt like it had been shut down. I had to kind of break the lock to go in there and find. I was a straight A student. But when I decided to go back to school after being away from any type of learning, I think it was like 26 years, my brain was like, and when I went back to school, everything was new, technology, things had changed. They didn't take attendance the same way. When they talk about blackboard, I was thinking of the blackboard on the wall. No, that's not what they meant. And I was the oldest one in the group. Of course, I've been the oldest one in a lot of different things. And imagine they're giving you a project and you have to deal with like a 24-year-old and you're like in your 50s. Talk about gap in terms of responsibility, passion, time management, goals. Oh my goodness. That was a challenge. So I had to muddle my way through figuring out the whole enhanced educational system as an adult in a regular young environment. I placed myself in that environment. And what I had to tell myself is like, Maggie, you chose this. Like I'm telling you, you chose to be here in Panama. No one forced you. No one broke your arm, twisted your arm. No, ma'am. No, sir. So I told myself, if you chose to bring yourself in this, you have a goal, then you're going to sit there and figure it out. My very first semester, I struggled. And I was dreading not passing these classes. But let me tell you, I spent night after night. When they gave me a project to do a paper, I used to write beautiful 10-page essays like in a couple of hours. Woo! It's like the words were like trickling, like one word every 10 minutes. It was painful. I'm not going to lie to you. But you know what got me through it? My decision. I said, by golly, and that's the kind of person I am. By golly, I'm going to master it. I'm going to do it. And I did. The first semester, I think I had a couple of B's. I'm an A student, B, well, but you know, a 50-year-old. I had to tell myself, give yourself some grace, sis, relax. You're not 20. I had some B's. I think I had a C. But the next semester got better. The next semester got better. And I did graduate, sis. So the moral of the story is the barrier of age is up here. You are limited up here by what you tell yourself you can or cannot do. So yes, it is going to be a bit more challenging. Your brain is not going to work and soak up knowledge just like the 8-year-old. You know, these kids can be polyglots by the time they're 10. Their brain is a sponge. Your brain was a sponge back there, way back when. That's probably why I learned Latin, French, English, and Spanish. Yes, I could. So what is another barrier? It's your mindset of what you're telling yourself you can't and you can't do. We talk about the physical changes of your brain being older and slower and learning taking a little bit more time, longer, right? With more time. Like I tell the student, I say, you got to keep at it, keep at it. It's like throwing something on the wall. Keep throwing it and eventually it will stick. How about that for a word picture? Mm-hmm. But if you are nonchalant about it and you come to it like, oh, well, I'm going to try and see, you already lost the battle because your mindset is not, I'm going to do it. Okay? So the physical changes of your brain, you know, your aged brain, your attitude about learning, and this is something you're going to read a lot that says, older people, I was going to say old people like me. Older people can learn, but they do learn differently. There's a sister who just developed a Spanish course, and she kind of reached out to me, and she, you know, it's like basic greetings and stuff like that. I don't teach like that. I'm more didactic, right? I'm just like gonna give you the nitty-gritty. We're gonna start from the beginning because that's how I learn, right? But we're not going to try to make you memorize lines. I can't remember what I said 5 minutes ago. Can you? So if I'm going to try to remember just memorizing phrases without understanding what they mean, yes, you could say hola, buenos dias, yes, but trust me, Spanish is a lot more complicated than that. So don't come at it. You come at it with unrealistic expectation that why am I not getting this? Why am I not retaining this? And the frustration shows up early. And I'm telling you this from what I've observed in my students. You know, I can start a class with 8 people, and that has been a trend. And by the time, you know, maybe 6 months or 3 months even, we're down to half of that. Kind of like nursing school. You know, I'm a nurse. When we would start nursing school with like 50 students, and after the 2 years or 4 years, they graduate 10. Yes. And they're young. They just drop off like flies. Now, some of them could have family issues. Some of them, you know, got out because dropped off because of financial issues. Some of them could not keep up with the syllabus, the content of the class. I remember teaching one nursing course, and there was one student, she just was not getting it. I don't know whether it was her intellect or whether it was her home situations, you know, social issues. She just wasn't getting it. And I, as the instructor, had to have a talk with her and say, sis, you're not going to pass this class. So maybe you need to go back, get some remedial, do some research, do some reading to prepare yourself for this. Well, this is not the same thing with Spanish. I believe personally the Spanish issue, the language issue, is the mindset. The mindset, the commitment, the acknowledgement that you're in a different space. You are not 20. Your brain doesn't work the same way. And fourth is the thing that kind of, I don't think it upsets me, it just concerns me more, is the lack of commitment to the learning. We are too quick to be distracted by whatever. Family issues, oh, I'm too busy, oh, I have so much going on, I'll catch up when I get there. And of course, we encourage you as instructors to learn learning something. We're not saying for you to learn to be proficient before you get to the country, but learn some basics. That's a given. I try to teach them about what happens if you're at the airport and something is missing, your luggage. How do you say that? And they're not going to just remember phrases. It doesn't work that way. Then that's when they're going to pull up the app. And I think at the airport, they're okay, you know, speaking into your phone. Not after you've been here a year or two. All right. So why am I talking about this? I'm talking about it because I'll tell you what I did after I was exposed to Spanish in middle school. And when I came to the United States at the age of 18, I could write beautiful Spanish. I told you that, but my hearing it. But I landed in New York. New York is like Spanish heaven, right? Spanish all around me. So that wasn't a challenge for me. It kind of helped me. When I went to school, because I went to the US out of high school, started college, did my English as a second language classes, became proficient at 6 months. And then I think I went to 2 years college. I got an engineering degree, an associate degree. That's another story. And then I went back to nursing school because I wanted to be a doctor if I had stayed at home. But then, what's the word I'm looking for? The economics did not make it possible for me to do that. So the next best thing, I'll be a nurse because I can get done quicker. I can get a job, quicker and start making some money. Listen, I thought that way when I was, 19, 20? What I did when I was in nursing school, again, this is my self-immersion, right? I was in a community where people spoke Spanish, not everybody, but I sought them and talked to them. And I took classes, I took college classes. I remember one of the classes was Spanish for healthcare professionals because I wanted to be able to talk because I was surrounded by Spanish speakers. I could say how you're feeling, the weather and all, but I needed to be able to talk to them about their health. So I took 2 Spanish classes. So that kind of set me up on a path. And because I had developed a passion for the language. See, you're missing the passion, sis, to learn it. Okay? I had a passion for it. So you know what I did? I made myself watch Spanish television. I watched my novelas at night after I watched the soap operas in the day. I would watch the novelas at night. Immersion. I listened to Spanish radio. Immersion. Then when I left New York, I came to Florida. Hey, more Spanish. I was in the Orlando area. One day I went to a Walmart in the Orlando area one time. I turned around and I'm like, is this Puerto Rico? Nobody spoke English. Nobody spoke English. They are all Puerto Ricans and Spanish, Spanish. So I was in my element. So I continued the Spanish radio, the novelas. I had my own business. I had my lab coat hanging on something in my office. And more, at least once a week, they'll say, oh, Miss Maggie, someone on the phone. They speak Spanish. Maggie to the rescue. Oh, we have a patient. She doesn't speak any English. Maggie to the rescue. I did that because I was committed. So, of course, when I came to Panama, going to a Spanish-speaking country was a natural progression for me. I did not look at Portugal or any other country, but because I love Chile, and I said, of course, my story, I thought I was going to retire in Africa because of whatever. But once I made up my mind and I came to Panama and Panama said, oh, sis, it was a natural thing for me to do. So I don't expect you, and I tell the students that too, do not expect, think about it, middle school, I'm in my 60s. That's a lifetime of immersion. So why do you think that you're going to come and take a class and in 2 months you'd be speaking? Not going to happen, sis. It's not going to happen. So you will say right now, okay, don't remember to like, share, and subscribe. You probably have some argument. Oh, but I've been here 10 years and I don't speak Spanish and I do fine. I'm happy for you, sis, sir. But that's not everybody's story, right? We talk about some of the reasons people return home after being an expat or immigrant somewhere else. Family, health, money, the language. It may not be the first 2 or 3 reasons, but it has been touted as being one of the dissatisfiers for people living abroad. I feel personally, when I teach Spanish, I make it a point to stress to the student the importance of understanding culture. When you are speaking to a person from a different culture in a different country, while you're learning the language, you're learning the history, you're learning the struggles, you're learning about why they are the way they are, what circumstances, what has transpired before you get to meet them, how they move around, what they believe, and why they believe it. So when you're learning a language, it's not just the words. You are communicating with the people. You embracing them. You showing respect and care for that group of people. You say you like them. Oh, I hear all the time, Panamanians are so nice. But what do you know about them? What do you know? What do you really know about them? Yes, you could read a history book. Yes, you can. But I think learning the culture, learning like over here, you go to Cologne, they'll speak some kind of English. Sometimes you're going to say, what? Yes. But if you understand the people and why they move the way they move, then to me, it just gives you a higher sense of connection. It gives you a higher sense of respect for the culture, for the people, and a higher sense of appreciation, and gives you a sense of humility for the privilege of being where you are right now amongst the people. So I wanted to talk about that today because this is something that kind of, I don't want to say bothers me, but it puzzles me that first of all, people don't take the idea of learning Spanish serious. No, they don't. Because everything else comes before that. Oh, I'm going on vacation. And I tell the student, you go on vacation? I could be on vacation, but you got downtime. Watch that video. Look at your notes. Because when you come back after 3 months, you've forgotten everything else that you've learned with me in the first 2 months, of course. Oh my goodness, it is a challenge. And I don't know what else to say about that, how important it is for you to learn it, and how your level of commitment is going to be directly related to your progress and your understanding that you are in a different time, on the continuum of your life, that things become a bit more challenging for you, just like going upstairs and being out there doing all this stuff. Your body is changing, your mind, your brain is changing. Are you acknowledging that, but yet make the commitment? Because let me tell you, I meet people who say, I've been here 15 years, but now I'm fluent. I do speeches. It will happen. And that's why I tell the sisters, if you stick to it, that stick-to-itness attitude is what's going to take you over. Because you're going to wake up one day and you're going to say, oh, I'm speaking. Oh, it wasn't that bad. And then the students once in a while, some small challenges and victory, they're so excited. Oh, I was able to order my meals today. Oh, I spoke to the Uber driver today. It gives you a sense of accomplishment, a sense that I am becoming a better version of myself. Who wouldn't want that? Who wouldn't want that? So this is what I have for you today, the importance of learning a language and the idea that you want to convey respect. You want to learn about the people, how they move around the culture. Sisters are telling you right now that they go to a place. This is what I mean about you're not on vacation. You're not a digital nomad. You're not here just for a short time. This is where you live now. This is where you live. Now, I've been here 3.5 years. I'm intermediate. I wouldn't say I'm fluent because I'm still finding words that I'd never heard before. And I keep putting in one of my files saying, oh, what is that? In addition to learning how they say certain things where you are compared to what you read in the books. It takes effort. It takes effort. So, sis, I hope I've made the case for you to understand the importance of learning Spanish where I am, people learning French. And I know it's not a requirement that you speak the language when you get here, but do it for you. Do it for you. Because what I was going to say earlier is that people are learning Spanish at any age. It will happen, but only if you put in the effort. If you stick to it, I would like to be totally fluent in a couple of years. And for that, I think I need to take another class myself. So I don't think I'm there. No. But can I converse? Can I make myself understood? Yes. And that's what I want for my students. If you get into an office, you don't have to, everywhere you go, just stick your phone in somebody's face. Some of the locals don't go for that. They don't want that. You go to Paris, you go to France, and you start speaking your English, you talk about the French giving you that look. It's like, but vous êtes à Paris, vous êtes en France. Yeah. You're expected to speak their language, not the other way around. So when you see these fools going to the restaurant saying, well, do you have the menu in English? Do you have someone who speaks English? It's your job to learn the language, not theirs, to accommodate you. But if you're a tourist and you're showing your face, yeah. But if you're local, there is no reason for it. You are in a Spanish-speaking country, therefore you need to speak Spanish. Do as the Romans. There is no ifs and buts. They're not, oh, well, I'm old. No, ma'am. No, ma'am. So I know, I feel like I've hit you over the head a lot. I apologize, but this is something that has been on my heart and I wanted to share it with you. So I encourage you. And I'm not saying that just because I teach online. Right now I have 5 classes. I can't do any more, right? Because I'm free tired too. So I need time for myself. Just because I want to do something, I don't ever want to overwhelm myself. So, pre-play or whatever they have, whatever you need to do something and learn. And please stick to it. Don't put it to the side like a pair of shoes. It's like, when I got nothing else to do, I can do it. No, ma'am. No, ma'am. You're not going to progress. And don't say Maggie didn't tell you. That's not how you learn a language. You stick to it, right? And even if you go to a college and you do it for a few weeks and you take an exam and you're done, you never use it, you don't ever look at your notes again, not going to work. While you're here in community with the people, use it. Go talk to people. Listen to the Spanish radio. Talk to the drivers, the sellers, the housekeeper, whoever it is. And you need to see a sense of proficiency. You have to see yourself improving and losing that fear. You know what I'm talking about. You're afraid to open your mouth. It's not going to come out right. Who cares? No one cares how it sounds. Every time you say something, they correct you and they laugh and they clap for you because they're so happy you're making an effort. Mm-hmm. All right. Stop it, Maggie. That's one of my soapboxes, and I had to get on it today, but I hope I don't do it again. So please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And if you like any of my videos, I appreciate a thumbs up. If you've been watching my videos and you have not subscribed, please subscribe. I'm not going to beg you. I know you, if you find value, you will. So I thank you, and I will see you in the next video. Au revoir. À la prochaine. Bye.